Kart Racers, you just gotta love them. From Mario Kart to Crash Team Racing to the iconic Garfield Kart. There's plenty. Sonic's no stranger to them, having the Sonic Drift games back in the 90s, and they were games, I guess. The on-foot racer Sonic R, which I personally really dislike, but it's got a banging soundtrack, and Riders, which I previously covered. With Sonic Racing Crossworlds so close to release, I figured I would go back and cover the prior kart races in this now series of spin-offs.
Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing!
There's everything you'd expect in a kart racer. We've got Grand Prix, time trials, single races, you know the score. I will say the controls do feel a bit slow or stiff, but they don't take too long to get used to. The starting roster, although obviously a bit Sonic heavy, is pretty healthy, and the ending of each Grand Prix gives you Sega Miles, points to unlock new characters, courses, music, etc. Someone at Sega is absolutely based though, because 90% of the Sonic music and visuals come from Sonic Heroes, aka the best one. It's also really funny that practically all the voice lines are recycled from older games, which makes sense. It probably is a good way to save money, but the fact I can pinpoint where most of the lines come from really enforce that I am indeed a bit autismal about Sonic, if you couldn't tell. Items aren't anything to rave about, the usual stuff you'd expect in a kart racer, projectiles you can throw forward and behind, shields, boosts, that sort of thing. The only thing of note is the All-Star. They serve as essentially final smashes from Smash Bros., letting the character do something crazy like Eggman launching missiles or Sonic and Shadow going super as examples. These seem to be very rare and reserved for like near last place though, so the only time I got to see any of these in action was in like dedicated missions. Speaking of, probably the standout feature for single player content, these missions task you with certain objectives, like for example a one-on-one race, collecting items, or doing a knockout race before Mario Kart World made it cool. I don't know how to say this without making it sound bad, because it isn't, it's a solid racer. Hell, if it's good enough for Jesse Pinkman, it's good enough for me. Actually, played Sonic 06 multiplayer that one time, so maybe not. It feels like it's kind of a beta for the game's sequel, but maybe that's because I have no real attachment to this game. I didn't grow up with it, and to be honest, it feels like this game's legacy is the wild amount of console-exclusive content since this released for practically everything at the time. And I really mean it. The Xbox 360 port got the Avatar, remember those, the little Xbox avatars, plus Banjo and Kazooie. That port and the PS3 both got exclusive DLC, namely Metal Sonic and Rio, the Shenmue Pro Tag and a forklift. The Wii got Mii's and stolen Sonic Underground fan art, that's real, look it up. How the DS port got its own cups and missions to my understanding, and while I find this era of different ports getting different things fascinating, it is a shame that it gets left out of the PC version. Like, a lot of this content is just console exclusive, and thanks to online services shutting down and things from like 2007 obviously not being supported, it's just kind of lost. Overall, this game is a good time, but not anything stand out in my opinion in terms of kart races. Now let's move on to the sequel, released 2 years later.
Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed.
Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. I know this one is a big fan favourite, but I never played this one all that much. The most I played was the demo on 3DS, and I can remember having a good time there, but I just never felt the need to get the game myself for whatever reason, or more accurately, beg a family member for it for a birthday or Christmas. I was that age. I did eventually get it on PC and play it with friends for a bit back in, I want to say 2017 on my old shitty laptop. That's a bit nostalgic to me. I think the only things I really played on that were Overwatch and Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was a dark time. As you'd expect, there's been an update to the roster. We've got BD Joe from
Crazy Taxi!
Mimi from Monkey Ball, and a few PC exclusives. Some Total War characters. I've never played Total War, so cool. Football manager? Oh, okay. Pyro from TF2, which sounds cool, but I have no particular feelings on it. I've played TF2 a tiny bit, but I can't really say that I'm a fan. And Wreck-It Ralph? Well, because Sonic was in the movie. And a real-life racer, Danica Patrick. Eh? I mean, more power to her, but some part of me thinks these guest characters feel more like whoever was in charge just didn't take their meds, but I do like how unhinged it is. Most of the items from Racing made a return, just under different icons, like the speed boost being Sonic's shoes in the original and now just being arrows pointing ahead in this one. But there are some new additions, my favourites being the glove, that when you hit an item you catch it and you can use it yourself, and the engine, which boosts you and you have to release it before it blows up. It kind of reminds me of the Thundercloud item from Mario Kart Wii, but executed better. The big gimmick that separates Transformed from the original is in the name. In each course, you'll have sections that turn your karts into either an airplane or hoverboard. I don't know what you call the water ones. They're not jet skis, I'm pretty sure, but speedboats. I think that's what you call them. And they do change up the gameplay substantially. I like seeing what varying paths each course has with these different vehicles. The controls do feel notably tighter and more responsive for me. It felt way easier pulling off tricky stunts once I got used to the gameplay. In terms of content, we've got pretty much what we saw in the last game with one exception. Mission mode has been replaced with World Tour, where you can select any character to perform various tasks, earning stars depending on how well you do to unlock more courses and characters. And I reckon this is the better mode out of the two. It definitely feels more streamlined as opposed to grinding and hoping you have enough tickets to get what you want. We've also got the console exclusive DLC thing going on. The Mii's were on the Wii U and 3DS, as you can expect, and the Avatar on Xbox. All the characters I mentioned a bit ago are PC exclusive and free. However, the PC port has one paid DLC character, and out of all the things in the world, it's the fucking Yogs cast. I haven't thought about them in over a decade. I didn't even like them then. The only one I've had any real prior experience with, Team Sonic Racing, as the name suggests, acts as the wider Sega cast in exchange for only Sonic characters, and has an actual story mode this time. It even has an opening movie with this theme, Green Light Ride, performed by Crush 40, and damn, it's their first new song since I think Sonic and the Black Knight for a Sonic game? How time flies. The crux of the story is this new character, the Dompa, invites a bunch of the cast to test out his brand new equipment, vehicles, tracks and the like. We start as Team Sonic, and we know Team Rose, with Omochao replacing Cream for some reason, are joining us. The controls and gameplay are quite similar to Transform before it, however it does have some dedicated mechanics in its team mode. You can give items to your teammates in need, as the combined results of your team are important for the end ranking, not just your own. You can also drive where an ally has been to get a speed boost named a Slingshot. Performing well earns you stars, which fill up this little gauge at the bottom of the vehicle. Get enough and you can do your ultimate, a massive invincible speed boost topped off with a little character theme, Sonic Kirby in Reach for the Stars as an example. The characters are categorised similarly as they were back in Sonic Heroes, with speed, power and technique instead of flight. I'm sure you can guess which is which for Team Sonic. The game has you do little challenges as well as one-off races and Grand Prix, such as collecting rings and points through checkpoints. In Chapter 1 of the story mode, we don't really learn anything other than Dodonpa is a bit of a freak, to be honest. Something everyone clearly picks up on, Tails and Amy in particular. However, Sonic doesn't really seem to care that much since he's having fun racing, and once the challenges are cleared, we get to play as Team Rose in Chapter 2. It's in this chapter that Silver, Blaze, and Vector get introduced, forming a team together instead of Team Chaotix and another person filling the third role for Silver and Blaze, which always stood out as particularly weird to me. Silver and Blaze were immediately uninterested in anything Dodonpaw has to offer, but agreed to stay with Vector in case there's any trouble, as he wants in on the supposed cash prize. Knuckles brings up exactly what I just did, and according to him, he's just out for that cheddar cheese, baby. We get confirmation on the obvious that Eggman's up to something, and Tails has some sort of plan, but that's all we know so far. In Chapter 3, we unlock the aforementioned Vector, Silver and Blaze as playable characters, named Team Vector, and the new opposing team is, fittingly enough, Team Eggman, although I don't really get why Sonic thinks Shadow and Eggman are working together for a good 5 minutes. It hasn't really worked with him a long time, and even Shadow was immediately like, what the fuck, no, why would I do that? I do like Silver being the voice of reason here though, believing Dodonpaw and Eggman are working together, but can't do anything about it since Sonic and Shadow are bickering. With Chapter 3 done, we move on to Team Dark as playable characters in the next chapter.
Team Dark, let's slag these robots.
Shadow, what did you just say? Hello? I guess that means destroy something in America, because slag is something way different over here. I'm surprised that made it in. Big is the only one who's not convinced Dodonpaw is evil, and destroys Tails with facts and logic, because he is based.
I have a funny mustache. Does that make me evil?
I also really like how Silver's just so naive. Man, he just has no concept of trash talking, and just him taking things so literally makes me smile.
You ever have one of those feelings? Like
you're about to get your car fed to you by a blue hedgehog? No, never.
I'm not hungry, but thanks.
I'm so gonna own you, Silver.
Okay.
No, you're supposed to say in your dreams, Sonic.
In your dreams, Sonic.
Too late. The moment's passed.
Silver's convinced something bad is going to happen very soon, and it doesn't take long for Blaze to suss out Vector isn't about that grind set as he so claimed. Tails was actually the one who called him at the start of the game, so they can work together to see what Dodonpaw was really up to. In this chapter, we get the reveal of the iconic Zavok, who Big clocked was here ages ago. He's paired up with Eggman and Metal Sonic, and the three are clearly after something. Zavok replacing the humble egg pawn in the process. Thank you for your service. We finally get the grand reveal that Dodonpaw is exactly who he says he is. He's just a dude that likes cars and owns a car manufacturing company, and also is a king. I would get if the company name was something like completely unrelated as a red herring, but it's literally called Donpaw Motors. Like, why was this build up to be anything? Oh, and how about that Big Bass was right again? When Big talks, we sit and listen. Dodonpaw is quite simply just a little guy. Also, this ultimate engine thing is literally fueled by the power of friendship. If you didn't think Sonic was a shonen anime before, this is irrefutable proof now. And by the end of this chapter, the Tanuki gets kidnapped by Eggman and Zavok. Who could have seen this coming? Moving on to the final chapter, and what more of a fitting area for the last part of the game than Final Fortress? It's more of the same, capping off with a race against Eggman in a large Death Egg robot-themed monster truck kind of car, but the gameplay loop is exactly the same. It's not a dedicated boss like how the Riders games handled their last levels, for example. Dodonpaw gets saved, Eggman's plans literally blow up in his face, and everyone gets to continue racing. Yippee. Obviously, this wasn't going to be anything crazy story-wise, and nor was it trying to be. I'm happy with it being a silly story, propped as more of an excuse for fun character banter, but I feel like it didn't go in on that aspect as much as it could have. Plus, the actual story mode really dragged on after a while. I just don't think it needed the amount of levels that it ended up with. You get extra courses for clearing the story, but in the free play mode you can choose to play as Eggman, Metal Sonic and Zavok, whereas they were opponents only in the story, with Metal being the speed, Eggman the technique and Zavok being the muscle. The soundtrack of Team Sonic Racing feels odd to me. It's not bad by any means, most of the songs being remixes of returning tracks from across the series, but I don't know, it's just kind of there for me. Like, I find it enjoyable in the moment, but the second the game turns off, I couldn't tell you a single song. That's with one exception, the Team Ultimate themes, and just for fun, I'm gonna shout out some of my favourites. Knuckles easily has the best out of his team in my view, you just can't beat that saxophone.
Get into the top!
Amy's is the best from her team. I'm so happy they used Follow Me from Sonic Heroes instead of My Sweet Passion for a change.
Almost better than fishes.
I love all of Team Vector's. And Darks, to be honest.
I'm here if you need me. Oh, I do not want to repeat that.
But the remix of Villanova for Blaze is just elite. Any Sonic Rush music is a win in my book.
Ultimate can't be beat!
Ultimate power? Oh, we got this in the bag.
And for Eggman's team, his is the best, no question. I just don't really like the song they used for Metal Sonic, and Zavok is Zavok. Sega, stop putting the Deadly Six into things. They're not gonna catch on. They're doing it in current year. Someone stop them. Going into this, I was pretty confident that TSR was going to be my favourite, purely due to it being the one I've spent the most time with prior, and while I do like it, something about All-Stars Racing Transformed was just that bit better for me. I vastly prefer the track design, and on occasion in Team Sonic Racing, when starting to turn as you're building speed, it can feel just a tad sluggish compared to Transformed, and for that game I couldn't tell you a single complaint controls-wise. The only thing that Transformed was really lacking on was the cast interaction, because I like that in these types of games. Something we've seen Sonic Racing Crossworlds is going in on heavily, and from what I've seen and heard, the gameplay seems to be very positively received, so I'm hoping that it can take my favourite bits from Transformed and Team Sonic Racing and end up being the best racing game Sega have created yet. If I had to rank them, Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed is the best one they've done so far, then Team Sonic Racing quite close behind it, and then Sonic and All-Stars Racing, but that's not a bad game by any means, just, like I say, it just feels lesser compared to the other two. But here's hoping Sonic Racing Crossworlds turns out to be a lot of fun, and I want to thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe for more. But I'll see you next time in the next video. Bye.